since we started Lady Drinks in July of 2012, I've been peppered with so many retail questions about, okay, I have press, but how do I get sales? I have sales, how do I get press? How do I deal with stress before and after a fashion show? How do I get celebrity attention? And I'm a journalist, and I don't have the answers to those questions. But we have fashioned this event today with the view to hopefully answer some of those and any other questions that you might have. Now, every single one of you have a sheet of paper that's sitting on your chair. After this event is over, Payal is going to do 3 20-minute one-on-ones on the phone with whoever she deems qualified after you filled out the sheets that are on there. So please, be meticulous in filling these out, because that's the basis upon which we're going to choose who gets to get these one-on-ones with her. Of course, an event like this does not happen without all of our sponsors, so we want to thank our photography sponsor, Mithun Ghosh, who I promise is going to be here very soon. Our 2 live streaming sponsors, we are live streaming tonight, so if there's any part that you missed and you want to go back and replay, this is going to be available for download later, so we are live streaming that. Jen Painter is in the back there manning the ship. Kavita Mehra as well as Zakhna Barak have sponsored that. And then we also, of course, have Sufi Wines. If you want to get yourself a glass of wine, please do. And we, of course, can't forget our venue sponsor, Exclusively In, which has afforded us the opportunity to be here, as well as Shop, which is going to be the tail end of the evening. So without further ado, I introduce you to Payal Singhal, who has been a household name for what, since you were 15 years old?
No, I mean, I was working since I was about 16, but I launched my label when I was 21.
Okay, so a mere 6 years later.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know Payal, I know your story because we've been friends for many years, but let's start from when you were 15, 16 and how you got started.
So basically, my parents were in the garment manufacturing business. The parent company used to be called London Fashions, which was, they had 3 or 4 denim companies that they had brought from London to India. So they used to basically be jean manufacturers, and they had actually 2 very unfortunate incidences in their tenure, before like they moved into Indian clothes, where the factory burnt down 2 consecutive years.
Wow.
So all the machinery and all which was imported from the UK, they were not able to restart. So they started making Indian clothes because the machinery was locally available, the talent was locally available, and that's how the company moved from jean manufacturing to salwar kameezes and Indian clothes. But it was a more correct time. It was mass-produced. It used to be supplied to stores like, some of you must have heard of companies like Benzer, Amar Sons, stuff like that. And so I grew up in fabric, denim, obviously embroidery, and there was no real point where I was like, oh, I want to do this or I must do this. It was all kind of like, this is where I'm going to be going. So at 15, there was a contest. A huge giant, a departmental store giant launched called Shopper's Stop by the Rahejas. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of Shopper's Stop. So their launch pad was a huge international fashion show competition that they opened out to the public. And they put it out in the newspaper, and I took part in that at 15, and I won it. So it was just like, really, which I regret, by the way, getting into my business space too soon. I wish I'd worked a bit more outside. But that's how it started. I went to school after that, and then I launched my brand.
Where did you go to school?
So first I went to school in India. It's a very good fashion design program by this university called SMBT, and it was a 3-year course. And then after that I tried to come to Parsons, much against my parents' wishes and stuff. And I went to summer school just to see, really, if it's something I really feel as more value add, then I'll convince them. But I felt it was very repetitive because I'd already done all the, I'd studied for 3 years and their school is full time, it's like 9 to 5. So I didn't feel the need to repeat it. And I also studied after I got married and moved to New York. I went to FIT for a lot of extended courses and after school courses. Just because that was not about a degree or a certificate program, it was more about the education. I felt like I wanted to study more, so I did. That's all education.
And by the way, Payal was the subject of a podcast that I had done, a podcast interview I done with you about a year ago. And one of the things that you said is that you had the support of your family. And you had the support of everyone around you, but you really needed to come here to prove who you were.
Yeah. So basically what I meant is that, you're always the baby in the business. Even though the label is in your name, and even though you're spearheading the creative side, and you're driving the business and doing all the business, everything. But eventually at the end of the day, you're reporting to your mom and dad, right? So it was very tough for me to break through there. And the business in New York happened completely accidentally, organically. I didn't come here with the intention to start a business here. I was just doing it while I was, I used to go to India every 2 months for the production. I decided to do something while I was here for 2 months, and it just took off. We had a store in Gramercy Park. I was talking to somebody about it right now, that they've been to the store in Gramercy Park. We had a store in Edison. We used to be partners with the Indomix girls. There used to be a store in Soho. But when I came here, when I started these partnerships, started doing my own trunk shows. I mean, believe it or not, when I lived in New York, when I lived in Bombay, I'd be at my store and clients would come in and walk past me because they thought I was too young. And then one client even asked me that, "Oh, are you here to help your mom?" And I was like, "No, I'm the designer." So going from there to coming here and actually, being the face of the brand, having my own conversations, making my own partnerships, really gave me confidence and allowed me to blossom and understand what I wanted from the business. And till then, I didn't really have a thought process. It was more like, okay, this is what I do. But then I was like, okay, I want to go in this direction. This is what I feel like. Like it was first time about me.
So we're going to we have a model here tonight named Cindy, who's modeling a couple of Payal's designs over the years, but we're going to start at the very beginning, which is where one of your first fashions were. So Cindy, if you could please join us up here and tell us what is it that she's wearing that's very sort of reminiscent of when you first started.
So basically this gown is actually one of our very popular and best-selling silhouettes. It's from the 2010 collection, which we had done, which was a resort collection for Lakme Fashion Week. We initially did a lot of Western clothing, which was very Indian in context. So like there is the embroidery, there is the silhouette, and at that point of time, I think it was kind of a breakthrough. Nobody understood it in the Indian fashion scene, and we didn't get that much press for it. And today, like I said, it's 2014, we have it on the rack, it's still selling. We just did a few orders at our trunk show.
Totally wear that.
It's very mainstream, and we get more attention on this dress and press on it now because it's become that more universal space where there's understanding that Indian fashion is more global versus that back home where in 2010 when we were like, oh, where are you going to wear this? Like, it's not Indian, it's not Western.
So people weren't receptive to it when you
No,
first...
I don't think they were. I don't think they were ready. I think maybe it was a little bit ahead of its time at that point.
So tell us a little bit about the dress.
So it's actually very simple. It's a crepe dress, strapless, and this is actually separate. So you can actually wear this with other things, like something Western, or you can remove this and wear another piece of jewelry of your own, put in a chiffon dupatta. That's something I really love to do. It's like mix and match the piece and also make sure that you can wear it many times. Indian clothes are not cheap, as we know, and I want it to be something that people don't shy away. Like you buy a tunic for $200-300 and you feel it's fine, and then you get to wear it so many times. Like I always say the value of a pair of jeans is not about how expensive; it's about how many times you wear it. If I wear it 300 times, $300 pair of jeans is just value of dollar to me, right? It's like $1. So the same way, I want the Indian outfit to be able to be worn like at least 10 or 15 times because that's when you can kind of justify it.
And therein lies the flexibility in this outfit because it's many pieces.
Exactly. So
thank you, Cindy. So one thing that you've often said is that you have been at this for so long, but you only feel like in the last while you've got your comeuppance, like people are finally giving you the due.
I'm not resentful of it, but it is true because maybe I was too young to be taken seriously, or the fact that I said like sometimes I felt like I was maybe ahead of where I should have been at that point. I don't know what the reason was, and there was maybe some kind of a parent brand prejudice, which is like the parent company wasn't ready to wear mass-produced garments, so the view is like, okay, it's like, I'll give you an example, like the mother-daughter duo of like Neeta Lulla and Nishka Lulla. So it's like, because Neeta Lulla does Indian clothes, you assume that the child or daughter is going to do the similar kind of stuff. So similarly, maybe they felt like it's very commercial, it's mass-produced. So I struggled to kind of get, a word in and to have being taken seriously. So, and yes, now, maybe independent of any judgment or prejudice, they view the collection just for the clothes. There's a huge problem with over-designing. with a lot of designers because they feel the more you do, the better it is. I totally disagree. So
Well, I think a lot of us have looked at stuff on the runway and we're like, who the hell's going to wear that?
yeah. So I mentor a lot of young students back home, and like the funny thing is, like I get into arguments with them because I take it so seriously and passionately, and like I'm like, okay, so who's your target clientele? They cannot even answer that question. They're just trying to do something creative, you know. So that's the thing. We are very strict. We're very hard on ourselves. We make sure that the garment is going to be worn by someone, and there is someone. Like it could be a red carpet event. It could be like someone going to a black tie event. It could be just Sangeet. But the answer has to be there. That someone is going to wear it, and I have an identity for that customer.
So you bring up a very good point, because I'm enrolled in a branding class and a business coaching class, and this week's homework has been to target who is your ideal client. Who is your ideal client?
So I mean, I would say not necessarily South Asian, because I've been getting surprised myself with the clientele. It's people from all over the world, women of course from all over the world, all age groups, because I used to feel like we're like restricted to age 25 to 40, but I've had like 60-year-old, like there's a long tunic out there, I'll show it to you later, but a 60-year-old woman from Switzerland actually ordered that on our website and was, she's not Indian.
Can somebody bring it out here while you're talking?
Has it, look at this long tunic down in the front.
Keep talking.
Keep going. And so I would say not South Asian, not just this first one, the white one. Yeah. So we had.
You can stand right here where the tape is.
Oh wow.
So tell us about this garment.
So basically it's
Also, please stand where the tape is. Do you see it?
yeah, model. So basically this is just a long tunic. It's like almost like a kaftan, and you can wear it to anniversary party, to a really great brunch, your own birthday party. I mean, and it adds someone. I think Rohini was telling me that her sister-in-law is having a baby shower, and it's an Arabic theme baby shower, and she was like, oh, it would work well for something like that. So like I said, the woman is not South.
So your ideal client, you said, is probably fashion forward.
Yes.
Has the money to be able to spend on your price point, which is not low, by the way.
Yeah, so I'm sorry about that, but we really, I don't believe in compromising on the product at all. So the crepe you'll see is of the highest quality. The lining is not cheap or tacky. Everything is French seam finished. We really, all the beading is Swarovski crystals. Like people don't care about that stuff, but I care about this stuff. So that's what, you have to realize that where do you want to be in the business? Like I can make replicas, I can make a $100 product. It's not a big deal. But it's like at the end of the day, that's what I was talking about when I came to New York. It became about what do I want as a career in my life. Like if you want to be a painter or you want to be a musician, it's about what you want. So I want to be in a space where I make beautiful garments which feel good, which last forever. I have clients who wear my garments from the last 10 years. And they bring it back to us for refurbishing, we refurbish them, they still wear them. So
you bring up a good point, and this is actually a member question that's been posed to me in the last while, which is that I have press. In other words, I have a celebrity wearing my stuff, but it's not actually translating into sales. We talked about that in the question Q&A, but let's hear more.
So yeah, I mean, it can happen all the time. Like we had, when we did PR in India before I moved to New York, sometimes there's no thought process behind the PR. So you just do like, you send out a press release, you do a lot of profiles, you pretty much take on everything that you get. Like someone will say, attend this event, you go be seen, be heard, you do everything. To me personally, that was not targeted press. It was very random and it was all over the place. So initially when we didn't know better, we did it, and it, like I said, a little bit came out of it. So when I was talking to Joya, I explained to her that now what we do is we do very targeted press ops. So if we're, like I spend a lot of my time concentrating on celebrities wearing the garments because that's instant gratification. The minute a celebrity wears the garment, we post it, we Instagram it, we tweet it, we put it up on our Facebook page, and we start to see the sales come in.
It's also adding credibility to your brand.
Exactly. So it's like, and why does the sale increase? Besides the fact that, obviously you realize you don't look like that celebrity, so it's not the same on you, but the fact is that suppose a Sonam Kapoor wears the sari, which became actually very famous, one of our sari, it's because she has good taste and she's wearing it, that it translates into, okay, like she's validating the product. Or sometimes it's not even about a taste level, it's sometimes about like you like the celebrity and you like it on them, and then you feel like, or you have a similar body type or something, you resonate with that celebrity, and then you buy it. So,
But something that's key is that you just don't say, hey, here's Neha Thupia, who's an actress, an Indian actress, or someone who are wearing my stuff. You also send the link
yes.
to the garment so you can buy it right away.
Yeah. So we just try to make it, one of the things when I was designing the web, we have an e-commerce site. So when designing it, my husband actually joined the business 1 year back to spearhead the e-commerce site as well as new business development with other e-commerce sites. So I was like, I want to really dumb it down, the website, because for simple reason, I'm an online shopper and I love shopping online. And if I'm going to have any extra boxes pop up and too many questions being asked for no rhyme or reason, I'm going to leave that site in 5 minutes. The only sites which I love to shop on are ones which are easy, which remember me when I come back, which make my shopping experience faster, like just click, put in the bag, check out, leave. So I wanted it to be as easy as that. So now again, who has the time when they see a celebrity wearing a garment to sit and wonder, oh, let me go check out the website. In the website, let me see where is this outfit. No one has the time. So you put in the dollar price. Also, how do you even know if this is in your budget or not? So you have the garment, you say it says $575, and then you have the link. So if the price point appeals to you, you'll click on the link and you can buy it in like 5 minutes. So just trying to help the customer, especially in this fast-paced world where we don't have the time. It's not even about like really trying to do a hard sell. It's more about creating it make it more convenient to the client.
And you're also very much hands-on about your PR. Like you work with the stylist, you figure out who's going to wear your clothes, and then you hand that over to a PR person.
Yeah. So what happens is we still have a few misses because just recently I just landed in New York and I put on my phone and I had a shock. I can't name anybody, but there was an Indian celebrity who was wearing one of our lehengas without the skirt, and I almost had a heart attack in the plane because I'm like, okay, 24 hours I'm away from the office, and this is what happens. Yeah. So the thing is, we try to the stylists are really sweet and they're willing to work with you, but you have to creatively even control that. So it's not like come, take the garment, go. We limit it to what we give the stylist. We ask the stylist who the celebrity is, what the event is. We make suggestions. A lot of the designers and the stores out there function where like, okay, you can come, pick, go. They're not interested, they're too big, whatever. Even though it's a little bit exhausting for me sometimes, I still make out and remove the time to do it because eventually, just like that mishap where she's wearing an outfit which cannot be worn without a bottom, and that translates back to...
Was she like showing all the way up here?
It was a long choti, but it clearly needed the bottom.
So it was a little bit of free
Yeah, and then it gets negative press, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, in the world they say that any press is good press, but I feel like you limit the negative press as much as you can. So
now I'm going to ask a reverse question because that's something else that a member has asked. Okay, now I have sales, but how do I get a celebrity to wear my stuff?
Yeah.
Were you ever at that juncture?
Yes, I have been at that point also. I think what happened is in India, suddenly it became like a whole organized sector where there was like how it used to happen in the US and UK and stuff like all over the world except India, where there's a stylist, there's a PR manager, the whole thing.
Right.
So that started to happen. Now, how do you maintain these people? Like there isn't interest in your brand because there's a requirement for the garments. So now they're going to go to all the designers. Then they're going to pick you because yes, your product is better, because you've done a good show at Fashion Week. But now, even some of the big designers lose out on certain opportunities because I feel it's all about maintaining honest aesthetic towards the stylist, which is what I'm talking about, kind of being like micromanaging it. But then the stylist realizes the value of that and keeps coming back to you because you're not just giving them garments, you're making sure that you're giving the right garment for the right person, for the right body type. Vidya Balan is a very different body type to a Sonam Kapoor.
These are all actresses, by the way, who don't know for your reference.
Yeah. So, for example, if I'm going to recommend a sari that Sonam could wear to Vidya, it's not going to work out. So, you have to be smart about it. You need to know, it's not like just about getting the job done. I even use the same kind of dedication with each and every client I meet. Like I'm not a yes girl at all. Like so if you meet me and if a client is wearing an outfit and they'll say, oh, like I've seen sales pitches and I've seen saleswomen. So they'll be, oh, it looks lovely on you. And like you walk into any store in America, the minute you walk in, oh, I love that shirt on you. That's what they're trying to do, right? because that's how you make the person feel good, and then they're in a good mood, and then they'll buy more. But I can't do that, unfortunately. But I think people come back to me, and I've had clients who've been coming to me for 12 years in New York. Every trunk show, when they miss a trunk show, they send me an email saying, "I'm so sorry, I missed a trunk show." They come, they shop, and that shows that they trust what we so. If it's not looking good, very nicely and politely, you can say, recommend something else or something different, and that's the value add.
So how do you gracefully say that? Because I think there's some people here who are customer facing, and when you're facing that situation where you have to tell someone, "I'm sorry, that doesn't really actually look good," how do you say that in a graceful way?
I mean, it's very, very easily actually. I mean, you just
Well,
recommend
what's the
something.
script? Like, there must
Yeah,
be a
so
script.
I always say, like, you know what, so first of all, to me, like, fit is very important. So if something is like not a right style, I'm very honest, but very, I'm not hurtful. So I'll be like, you know what, if you wear something which is going to be like really short, or like a really short kurta, it's going to make you look taller. You know, versus if you wear floor length anarkali, it kind of evens it out. You can imagine it. See, when you wear a short kurta, it makes you look taller.
What if that person's gone over to the rack and picked it out anyway, and you're like, "Oh God"?
No, so I mean, see, I tell you what, another thing is like I never really open my mouth unless I see the person try on an outfit,
Right.
because sometimes even I'm surprised. Like, you know, all your rules go out of the window because the chemistry that happens when you put on something, sometimes which is in theory perfectly meant for you, when you put it on, it doesn't look right.
But let's say it's just a disaster, and you're like, "Oh my God."
No, so I say it nicely, but I say it. I'm like, you know, honestly, try something else. Like, I don't be like, "Oh, there's no option for you, Italy." Like, there's no pretty woman scene happening, please leave my store. No, it's like more like, I can make this in this way. Suppose the kurta is looking very short, I'll be like, if I lengthen it, it would look better. You would look taller. I mean, as long as you're giving someone honest advice and they're going to look better, why would they resent you?
They value you for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So let's talk about this. You know, you said that you mentor young designers. The times have clearly changed since you started. So what would you say about the young generation of designers?
Again, we talked about this, but basically I feel like the amount of years I put in, I'm 37 now. So I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years.
41.
So, no, so I've been doing it for 20 years, and like we're now having a conversation about, have you gotten your dues, is the brand tipping over, you know, things like that. People want that to happen in the first 2 years of their business now. And it's like, they're not even willing to pound the pavement. It's like, I mean, I see design students, and everyone, like I actually was at a portfolio judging in a school in Bombay, a college in Bombay, and 2-3 designers were there, and we all asked all the students what they want to be. Everyone said, "I want to be a stylist." They're in a 3-year grilling fashion design program, and all they want to do is be a stylist, because there's no hard work in being a stylist. It's like you go to someone else, like, I mean, a stylist is not doing the same job as a designer, clearly. We're manufacturers, it's very tough. So they want to go pick out the garment and go. I'm like, so why are you in a design school? You know, I don't understand.
What was your answer?
No, they no answer, because the whole point is that they want to get there quick, you know, because the young, what happened is all the young stylists who started working like 2-3 years back, it was all about being in the right place at the right time, and today they're like celebrities themselves, you know. We have these little 20-year-olds who are making like, you know, lakhs of rupees styling the top celebrity. They're hanging around with A-list celebrities, and everyone wants to be in that industry now.
Yeah.
But the thing is, that just shows that they want everything quicker, faster, no patience, not willing to put in the time, not willing to go up the ladder, be an apprentice, do an internship, learn the craft.
No, on the flip side, you also feel that they are much more articulate and well outspoken.
Absolutely. They are much more aware of social media than we are. Like, a younger designer will come onto Twitter and Instagram and will get like 10,000 followers, and we are struggling since like months to get there, because they are all talking to their friends and they're younger, and they're like with it, you know. We are educating ourselves. So, but the younger ones, they don't have to educate, they grew up with it, right? It's like my son, he's 5, and I mean, he knows more about the iPad than I do.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone knows, everyone says that clearly, like he can use it better than I can. So they have that. They also have like a much more of a global outlook towards fashion than we did. Like, I remember when we were younger, like getting a Vogue or getting an international magazine was like, you know, you have to go to like, literally you had to go to either the Taj Hotel, where there was one little store which sold imported magazines, or you have to go to like what we call like a Raddiwala. You have to go and get a second-hand book to get.
Explain that to the folks who don't know what that means.
So basically, it's like in India, you sell all your newspapers and magazines to a guy who can resell it for like, you know, like a vintage second-hand store. Yeah, recycle, right? So in those days, like when we were growing up and we went to fashion school, there was no way to get a Vogue magazine or a Cosmopolitan or an Elle or whatever. So these were the things. Whereas today, not only are all these brands in India, so you have Vogue India, Cosmo India, Marie Claire, Harper's Bazaar, we have all the subscriptions available to us. I mean, I can get WWD at home in Bombay. I mean, anything. Like, I was talking to somebody else, like this, we know more about technology, I would say, even in India. Like, I remember when I was living in New York, here everybody was like, what is an SMS? In America. And I'm like, oh God, like, you know, China, India is like so much ahead of it. Like now, okay, everyone is on WhatsApp and stuff, but initially, very few Americans were on even texting.
Right.
I mean, texting was like, oh, how do you do that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So now technology, so that's what I'm saying, the younger generation has a huge edge. There's technology on their side. They
Social
can get
media.
social media, so they have visibility is much easier to gain.
And it's free.
It's free, and they have an understanding of it, so that's not, they don't have to educate themselves, and they are more global. They have more idea. Like, so for example, like an international runway show happens, you immediately have access to it, and you can use that as your inspiration or your study material.
So I'm going to ask Cindy to come out one more time, please. And Cindy, what is the next question I'm about to ask you is about the stressors of doing a fashion show. But tell us about this particular design and what this represents in your evolution as a designer.
So after after a few collections of doing a lot of heavily embellished clothes, we moved to a more earthy, organic sensibility in 2013. This outfit was actually worn by Kareena Kapoor for one of her movie promotions. As you can see, it's very easy to wear, it's very comfortable, it's done in silk mal. The kurta and the dupatta, the patiala salwar is embroidered in a signature triangle print. And the best part is, again, 3 pieces can be worn with different things. Like Kareena actually wore it with a black salwar because it was a much lighter event. You can dress it up with jewelry, you can wear the dupatta with the other things. And I still feel like even though it's a very comfortable outfit, it's not frumpy. It's still got a little bit of sex appeal on its own. So what I mean to say is you don't have to be wearing a tube top or showing skin to give that sense of being like it's a hot outfit. So that's what.
And this is what you call your contemporary Indian collection.
Contemporary Indian, yeah. And again, I feel like if you didn't have the dupatta, it's very universal. It's a tunic with, like harem pants or something like that.
And so who's your ideal client for something like this? If it's not Kareena Kapoor, who again is another actress, by the way.
So basically anybody, right? I think like an outfit like this would be worn to an occasion like maybe a mehendi, a lunch, somebody like, you have like so many of these ladies events like happen like in the afternoon, like even for a night event it could be dressed up. So I think I would say this is more of a South Asian client, a target client, but anyone can wear it.
Well, we have a young lady in the audience who's getting married to an Indian man, and I asked her if she's met the in-laws yet. Is that something she would go meet the in-laws in?
Yeah, she could.
Would you wear that to meet your in-laws?
That's what I should have done.
So you were wearing the tube top, right? So
Everything I did was wrong.
talk to us about the stresses of a fashion show. That was actually one of our members' questions. How do you deal with the mayhem that ensues backstage? Cindy, thank you.
So basically, so now I'm a lot calmer, but I remember many years I have spent backstage flipping out, usually getting into an argument or a fight with either the makeup artist or one of the models who's throwing a tantrum, or one of my assistants who's acting like a ditz and is on her phone rather than like helping with getting the person ready. We have literally like we usually do a 2 designer show, and the turnaround time to change the garment is
10 minutes.
10 minutes is the whole show. If the turnaround time to change the garment is 10 seconds. It's like that short of a period of time. I mean, I would say like 20 to 30 seconds before they have to go back into queue to go. So it's very stressful, but now, I mean, obviously I'm older, wiser, calmer. So I have a strategy where I actually try to dot all the I's and cross all the T's way in advance. So on show day, I have like no stress. So basically like, I keep myself organized. So of course, on the day of the fittings, which is about 2 or 3 days before the show, you already know your look. So you know the garment, the shoes, everything is fitted, you've done your alterations, it's all good to go. But even before the show, when you go into the green room, like I actually go and meet each assistant. Each model has an assistant to help them get dressed. They call helpers. So I go and meet each assistant and make sure, like, there's simple things like we keep all the openings open during a show. So like the zip fly is open, the kurta is open, so that it's just faster to put it on. And some of these girls, like, I see them struggling before show, and this is all from experience. Like, while the model is coming back, they're trying to open the buttons to put it back on. So we make sure that all that is done, the shoes are kept correctly, the jewelry. So I just basically just try to stay aloof, but yet go and check on everybody, and then I walk away, and then I let the assistants do it.
Do you have a ritual that you, like, do you get a massage? Do you, like, is there something that you do after the show, like, just to be able to, like, you know, de-stress from it?
No, I don't do any of those things. I don't have time, unfortunately, but I do definitely decide to, like, not freak out if something goes wrong. I talk myself through it. So I'm like, you know what, it doesn't matter. Models trip, clothes go unbuttoned, like, I mean, as long as there's no, like, malfunction. I'm like, you know, the music trips, the cue goes wrong. These are things that happen, nobody remembers them. Eventually, it's the pictures which go viral globally, and eventually that's what makes the brand go bigger. So.
And your mantra is, I'm doing the best that I can.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so what is the next frontier? When we talked on our podcast, you said that Payal Kids and Payal Home Goods are in the pipeline.
So we do have the Payal Singhal Kids line already, and only thing is I haven't been concentrating too much on it because, like, as you know, the mainstream line has kind of tipped over, and we have a lot of interest and inquiry and a lot of orders. But yes, we do have a kids line, and like taking it onto the website and doing e-commerce for it and doing the shoots and stuff is all in the pipeline, just to make it more like legit. The menswear line is something, yeah, it's something we're working on. And the home line, I would say, would happen like maybe 2 to 5 years from now, you know, once these are all established.
So you have tied up with Pernia's Pop-Up Shop, which is an e-commerce portal for those of you who don't know, as well as Exclusively, and who is our host here tonight. Why is it important when you already have your own e-commerce portal? Why bother tying up with other third-party vendors?
So actually in this case, I tied up with them first, and then I started my e-commerce site, even though as like I had discussed several times with Sanjay Galeria, who owns Exclusively, and that we had been working on our e-commerce site for years and just never took off because I just didn't have enough time to give it. And then when my husband joined the business, he helped launch it. So we were already with them, and then we launched our site. But yes, why did I not discontinue working with them? Is because I see a huge value add. They reach out to a different clientele than we do maybe. Like they have people like they bring to the table that we may have never been exposed to our brand. I feel like it's good to be part of a community. As a designer, you cannot live in isolation. You have to work as a community. Because it's like if you notice, like if you go to Fifth Avenue, they're all designer stores. Why is it not that there's one designer store, one furniture store? Why? It's like always you'll see markets are in clusters. So similarly, like if you get identified with that brand, it's like about surviving in the competition more than just having a monopoly. Like if you come to my site, you can only buy my clothes, but here you pick my outfit over some other outfits.
But in this case, they also own the customer relationship,
Exactly.
which you may not have. But
Yeah.
if they come and buy one of your things, chances are they're going to come back as a repeat customer.
Yeah, and the thing is, see, we're very ethical in that, and I've discussed that several times with Pernia's Pop-Up as well as Exclusively. And if we know someone is coming from another side and trying to play us against each other, we actually, as much as we can control it, we try to be very fair and be like, look, you know, this is XYZ product, you have to buy it from them. But having said that, you can't really control it all the time, world over. But I feel it's not about getting their client, it's more about me increasing my clientele and client base. And also getting pitted against designers who I feel I like and who I want to be in the same space as.
But then how do you stand out when you're against a Tarun Tahiliani or a Manish Malhotra and you're being featured on the same site?
I mean, it's very simple. That is not even a thought process. It's about if you're going to do something which is unique and true to yourself, you don't need to like do anything to stand out. If you're going to make the same product everyone else is making, you're going to get lost in the crowd, and then it's going to be stronger. So we've always had an identity from day one, and it has not been conscious. It's just my taste. So it's just been like, okay, like I said, initially maybe people didn't understand it and they were not so open to it. But now today there is a market for it.
And the reverse, and I'm going to ask Cindy to please come out with the last look. You've really changed tack in the last while. Like, this is probably one of your most edgiest lines I've ever seen. So I want to talk about the graphic-inspired line. She's not ready yet? Okay, we'll keep talking. So, but then the reverse is also true. Let's say I am looking for a crop top, because God knows that's what's in fashion this year. And I go and I Google crop top, and I happen upon your crop tops for the season. Prettiest Pop Shop or Exclusively In is also getting information in reverse that this is what's selling, right? It's not a one-way street.
No, I mean, what do you mean? Like, who decides what's selling?
No, so in other words, Prettiest Pop Shop or Exclusively In is like, you know what, we got to stock a few more crop tops because that is what's selling off the shelf. Like, the fact that you introduce it is giving them information as well.
Yeah, I mean, everything in fashion in terms of trends works together. So, for example, the more a buyer buys something, the more the designer creates it, the more that you put in the market, the more people wear it. The more people wear it, then it becomes a trend. So it's almost like dictated. Like, they have like these fashion conferences and seminars where they decide that, okay, in 3 years from now, we're going to make acid wash denim come back into fashion. It's like like a mafia almost. Right? So, like, there is a process to it. So it's like there's a synergy between like the buyer, the designer, as well as the client.
So tell us about this look that we're about to see, because like I said, this is very different than what you've done before, and yet it's not.
So basically, this is from our latest collection, the Lady Sahara collection. It's I wanted to play with the whole print-on-print trend that you were seeing on the international runways, but in an Indian context. So basically, we have the printed waistcoat with the printed tunic and then the printed pants. Again, all three pieces can be worn separately. I actually, we had one stylist at Vogue magazine in India who won this outfit in a contest which was happening in India. And I just saw a picture of her in Sweden, and she's wearing just the tunic with a trench coat. And she sent me the picture. So, I mean, I actually learn from my clients and people who take our clothes how to wear and style them in more different ways, So like she actually got this outfit, and I saw her wearing the tunic with the long black trench coat.
This is almost very Moroccan inspired. Did you go to Morocco?
So basically I didn't, but the collection was called Lady Sahara. It was supposed to be inspired by the time when Morocco was this thing by the French. Yeah, it was occupied by the French in the 1900s, and it was just a thought process where I was like, if I had to fuse French and Moroccan architecture with French fashion, what would be the product of that? So we'd use a lot of like French colors and stuff like that, and the silhouettes were very like clean and crisp, but the patterns were all very Moroccan.
Are you already fashioning your next collection?
Yes.
Can you give us a clue as to what that's about? Yeah?
Yes, actually it's going to be, we're showing on August 20th at Acme Fashion Week. It's going to be a little bit of a departure from the last two collections because I got a little bit exhausted with the monotones. I was like in a lot of pastels and very muted colors. So it's a very colorful collection. There's a lot of bright colors, and we're also working on a signature print for that. And it's a lot of floral. I mean, I can't give away too much, but a lot of floral patterns. And again, we're going to take ahead the thing that we've started to get synonymous with, which is edgy Indian contemporary clothes. A contemporary Indian edgy clothes is what we're going to take forward with that.
I want to ask a question. Is the door downstairs unlocked? Because I see my phone going off, and I know there are some people that meant to be here that are not. So this is a question from the woman who I'm in question with and coach for those of you who know her. Her constant complaint is people are copying her. They're copying her designs. They're copying the way her clothes are presented. And how do you keep people from being able to do that?
We haven't been able to so far. We've not been successful. But yes, as recently as in the morning today, I had a client email me saying that this IMR sari of yours is available for £100 on Zena Boutique. So we logged on and we saw it, and there was a UK number, and we called them and they put it down in like 5 minutes. They've actually taken all the images from Purna's Papa of all the designers and put it up for like £70, £50, £100, which is obviously not true. So they're fakes. So we try wherever we can, and whoever we can get our hands on or get on the phone or send an email to, we do. But there's no way to control it. Like unfortunately, trademark laws for fashion are so difficult. You can, but like you will have to do that then with everything. Because, like for example, if I had to trademark the print, it would be very tough. It would probably cost me more money to trademark it than the profits I was making from my lines. So it's probably, so what we do is like the way I deal with people copying stuff is I make a new collection. So my answer to them is, go ahead, you copying, it's already old, I've got a new collection.
But it's going to take a few years, maybe months before that trickles down to the mainstream market.
Well, and right now, I mean, the last collection is in the market.
No, I mean the copies make their way to market.
No, so they now, the turnaround is only 6 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the bad part. So, but the thing is, like at least someone who understands, like, like a lot of people are very conscious of the fact that they want to wear it like in advance and they want to wear it in time. Like how you want to have the it bag or whatever. So I guess in that way, people who care about that stuff are not so worried. But then the people who have an outfit and they're like, they want more timeless pieces, and then it's in the fake market. It's not fair to the client. I know how to deal with it. We come up with a new collection, but I'm more worried about my client who's paying full price for it, and then they have to deal with someone who's buying the fake. So we're trying to work out something.
And you're saying that if they'd rather go have a fake made, they're probably not an ideal client anyway.
Yes. But having said that, it does definitely change. It bothers the person, right? It's like if for example, because you knew so many Louis Vuitton bags were out there in the fake market, there was a resistance to buying an original Louis Vuitton. Isn't that true, right? So even they had to come out and catch all the people and make sure that the fake business was getting eradicated. But so it is going to affect the client, but we're trying to be on top of it. And also, like, what happens is the websites are not authentic. So they're saying that they're going to give you this, but they're going to give you something else.
Right.
So eventually the client will understand that, okay, look, they're not really getting the real product.
Are there any other looks that you want us to see tonight?
No, I think these 3 looks, I chose them because I think that it was a good representation of the growth of the brand and what we do now. And I think this is good.
Thank you, Cindy. Okay, so we are at 7:25, and as I promised, we're going to open this up to questions that you might have, although I got a fair bit of them over the course of the last 2 weeks. So why don't we start with you, Rocky? What is your question for Payal?
Well, first of all, I want to say I've been a huge fan. If it hadn't been for exclusively in, I would never have discovered you because I hardly go to radio. I've been here in this country for 32 plus years, and I'm not exposed, and I love fashion and trend and whatever. And I've been a huge fan of yours from day one. So I love all your styles, your color combination, huge fan. I don't have any questions. I mean, you've been pretty open and honest, and I really respect you as a designer from hearing everything today. And I just wish you continued success.
Thank you.
So Rocky has a jewelry line called Urnish Jewelers that's also being offered on exclusively in.
Oh, lovely. I'm going to check it out.
Pooja?
I'm actually, I've seen you because I was coming for the show yesterday, so I've heard your name, but I just went online yesterday to just see what your collection was. But I'm really impressed, and of course I love the last piece, it's really good.
Thank
So
you.
I'm probably a new fan of yours.
Thank you.
And do you have any questions for Payal? Neetu is soon to be, well, you're already a fashion person, but you're going to be designing something very slinky and sexy very soon.
I have a question, like if I have to, it's been a while since I've been to India, and if I have to approach or get some celebrities to wear my stuff, how do I go about it in India?
In India.
So the question is, if anyone can hear it, if you're starting a new line and you want to broach or you want to pitch it to a celebrity, how do you do that?
See, the main thing is in India, what you're going to have to do is, it's unfortunately a little bit about knowing the right people. So now, just like how through LadyDrinks now, we're meeting. So I could introduce you to a few stylists. That's how it works, right? That's what networking is about. It's not going to be easy. I mean, I'll pre-warn you because the product has to sell itself. So one of the things even when I told Joya was that yes, all these things matter, but the most important factor is product is king. So if your product is not good, you can have all the right strategies, the best social media, everything else, it's not going to work. So if your product is good and if you have a few of the right connections, there's nothing which will stop you from a celebrity wearing your garment. So, when you have something ready, email me, whoever I can hook you up with, I will. And you know, if it works, then great.
That's great.
Money?
Yeah, I have a question. I buy a lot online. Like practically I buy things like from pen to dress, saris, whatever you can say online. So do you have like a membership thing, like a person keeps coming back to you?
Like
because
loyalty
they-
points.
Yeah, so we are working on that actually.
Yeah.
We are, because it is in process. We just have to figure out how we're going to, what kind of rewards and stuff. So, you know, our website is only 6 months old. So we are in the process of getting that together. So it's going to be like basically after X number of purchases, you get the loyalty card. And then once you get that, every time you buy, you get something, some percentage
Yeah,
off.
on that note, I'll say, I'm not talking about loyalty program because that turns me off, honestly. What I'm looking for is exactly kind of a little off, like a percentage off or
Yeah.
dollars off, or if you have this piece, or maybe I can return it to you to upgrade it to something else, or maybe I can buy something else from you, anything like that?
Yeah, no, so what we are planning to do is like, it's not going to be a point-based thing, it's going to be more like you kind of earn a percentage off. So it's like, if you, so you get tiers, right? So first, this, because we've talked about it already, but we just have to put it with the coding and stuff. So basically the first time, I'm just giving an example, these are not the real numbers, but suppose you're getting like, every time you buy 10% off. After you cross a certain amount of dollars spent on the website, then you'll start getting 15% off. Then you cross a certain, then you get 20% off. So it's just, I love instant gratification. I don't want to work hard for my points and all that. We were saying like, what do you do to differentiate it? We're not trying to be different. We just do what we believe in. So for example, if we want to create a premium product, I believe that it should not be going. Yes, we'll have in-store sales. We'll have trunk shows which will have sales, but we will make sure that we keep the product new, and you will never get that on sale. So when you do get the discount, it feels good to get that discount because you don't usually get it. So.
And you have a process. As soon as a fashion show is going on, someone like an Exclusively In may even be taking pre-orders while the show is live.
Yeah. So we worked with them, and as for several runway shows, they have the images loaded at either right after the show or even before the show. During the show, it goes live. So as you see the garments coming down the runway, if you're really a fashion enthusiast who wants to get it first, you can pre-order it while it's on the runway.
But that's also a great way to drive sales.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like even if it doesn't, I always say that, like anything, like whether it's a celebrity wearing a garment or a sales pitch or any marketing that you do or any PR, even if it doesn't give you instant result, though I love all that, instant gratification stuff, but eventually it all adds up and it builds the brand and it builds your equity and it is going to, you know, give you some returns.
Payal?
I really don't have any questions, but I totally believe in the business model that you came up with. I kind of work in the same way. You're working with Exclusive and the Purnia pop-up. I also work with outside event planners, so it's just like, you know, you are getting a new clientele, which you may not have.
Yeah.
You may make, you know, maybe you have to, whatever you're giving.
Share your
In our
percentage.
cases, like we have to give 10% out to the event planners. So I would rather give that 10% than not get that business at all.
Totally.
So I agree
Absolutely.
with
And not just the two of them, they are the two big players in the market, but there are so many others that we also work with. And we work with sales agents, we work with reps, we like I work with so many stores, and the one thing that I try to do is, not try to do, we do, is we maintain an international market retail price. So whether you buy it exclusively in, or you buy it from my store, or you buy it at the trunk show in New York, or in Bombay in the shop, or in BB London, a store in London, or in Dubai, it'll be at the same price. Because, so we take a hit, different price points, you know, we give different percentages to different stores, different vendors, but we sell it at the same price everywhere, and we dictate it to the retailer. So that way, the client knows, so it's like a BCBG tunic, right? It's like, you know, you're getting it at the same price at Saks, and you're getting it at the same price in their store. So that's what we're trying to do.
So Rupinder Kaur is here from London as she runs the UK equivalent of LadyDrinks called Asian Women Mean Business, right? And so she caught wind of what LadyDrinks is about, and so she's cleared her calendar to be here tonight with us. What are some of the challenges that women in London are dealing with that you might want to ask Payal about?
Well, first of all, Payal, I really enjoyed listening to you and your business journey. Thank you for being so open and honest. And I think I actually made lots of notes because so much of what you said are our challenges around branding and understanding social marketing, and also getting really clear on your target market. My question to you would be, looking back now, what advice would you give your 17-year-old self when you were starting out?
So the biggest advice I would give, and that is my biggest regret only, is that I would have worked with somebody else for at least 5 years. Yeah, so that was the big regret. Because I think I struggled a little bit more because I hadn't done that. You know, I mean, I was groping in the dark for a really long time, and it's really funny. But like when I hear of friends, and I have like some of them here who work with big corporate, like one of my friends who's here who's like headsacks.com. I'm like, I would love to be an intern in your office, and they don't understand that. They laugh at me, and I'm like, really, because I haven't worked for anyone else. So it's like almost like for me, it is like a dream to work for someone or to work in a brand, but I haven't been able to do it. So that was the advice I would give myself, or to any young student who I meet, that give at least 5 years. Like it's like this, like when you do your MBA, don't they tell you to have some business experience?
Yeah, working.
Yeah, exactly. Like to have some kind of work experience. So the same thing, like before you start your own label or a business or anything that you want to do entrepreneur, you should work with somebody else. First of all, learn at their cost. Why do you want to learn at your own cost?
And make mistakes, and they cost you.
Yeah. And the thing is, that's not the reason for my regret. My regret is like, you only know one way to do it now. You don't know anyone else's point of view, so.
Trish, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, growing up, were you always into fashion? Like, at what age did you realize, like, this was, like, the career you wanted to pursue? Because, like, I'm a 20-year-old girl, and I'm still not sure what I want to do with my life, so.
No, it happens. Yes, I think I did always. I'm actually not very fashionable now. I'm, like, very frumpy, and I don't bother because I'm, a mom, and I don't have the time, but I was very fashionable as a kid. I would apparently, like, tell my mom that I can't repeat my outfits and stuff like that when I was a little girl. Yeah, so like I remember, like I was 15, I was like our school prom in India, and I told her that I need a new outfit, and she was like, you have a perfectly fine outfit, and I was like, but I can't because I have a reputation in school. I can't repeat my clothes. And my mom was like, I've created a monster. We had access to more clothes because we had a factory, so I would get things made and all. So, what the thing is, I have like a lot of cousins and friends and who are young, and I have a lot of young friends who are in fashion too. I feel like, you should put a little pressure on yourself to kind of have some direction, but you can't force it. It's like a calling which comes from within. Like you need to know, there's no time. Like there's no like, I have to be 20 and no, or 30 and no. Like there are no such things anymore. I know people who change careers when they're 30, in their 30s. So I don't think that matters. But yeah, I mean, having a little, I believe that I am able to be where I am today because I started really young. Of course that has added to it. So.
I keep wanting to call you Soraya, but it's Sora, right?
Sora.
And Sora, you have a blog that you're going to be writing about this event tonight.
Yeah. I don't have, because I'm not in the business, I don't have any business questions, but listening to you, and my question to you is, when do you find time for yourself, and how do you gift yourself with any kind of vacation? What makes your life special for you as an individual, from being a mom, being a wife, doing this amazing business that you do? Where are you in this? And what kind of gifts do you give yourself to take care of yourself?
Actually, it's a great question. No one ever asked me that. So, I was getting a little bit burnt out a few years back because exactly what you're saying, I didn't do it. I thought I'm also like what you call like a type A personality, so I have to be the best at everything I do. So being a mom, being a wife, being a...
That's why I'm asking, because I understand that. But the thing is, don't you ever feel like you want to stop it?
Yeah, so that's what happened to me. I reached the point of like complete burnout, and I think I had a panic attack, and then I changed my whole attitude. This is 2 years back. I changed my whole attitude towards work, and I decided to have more, I only do things that I want to do now and I enjoy doing, even if it's work-wise. And to be honest, I enjoy my work. So for me, I don't think of work as stress, and I don't think of doing something for work as taking away from my private life, because I enjoy it. But having said that, I'm very clear that I don't work on Saturdays. Even though in India you work on Saturdays, I don't go to work on Saturday. It's just a small thing, it's a very small step I do for myself and my family. My office is still working, but I don't go to work on a Saturday. We take family vacations, I spend time with my husband joined the business, so that's a little good because now we get to spend time, even, we are together all day long. And I actually only work, this will sound really bad, but I work a 3-day work week. I only go to work 3 days in the week, and I come home by like late afternoon so that I can be with my son. So but I work at home and I have discipline. So basically, to answer your question, 2 years back I realized I was doing what you're saying. I was not giving myself enough time and attention. I wasn't enjoying what I was doing. So now I've changed the whole attitude towards work and my personal life, as whether it's going out for a dinner, a social event, anything I say yes to, I only say yes because I want to, not because I have to.
So now you basically live out of choice rather than I
Yes.
have to.
Exactly.
And that makes you feel better about yourself.
Yeah, that's when I'm enjoying myself. That's why when I'm at work, I'm not doing that because I have to now, because I really want to.
Right.
So,
That's a big difference.
yes. So
That's really hard to do in India, because in India there's tremendous social pressure.
yes. that is-
Tremendous. So
yeah.
for you to be strong enough to identify and do the want to.
Yes. No, and by the way, we get, on a personal front, I'll tell you, I'm not very popular because of that, because it's what
That's
happens is,
okay,
yeah,
because
but
they're not
my
there
close
when
friends
you are
understand,
down.
yeah, my close friends and family understand, but it's like, okay, so the invitations start dwindling, and then, but it's okay, because I can't make it to everything.
You want quality,
Yeah.
not quantity.
Like I'll be very honest, and Joya knows this. I did this because of my relationship with Joya, and I feel comfortable. I was okay. I wanted to do it,
Yeah.
So
And I was hitting you with questions every day.
Yeah.
too. I'm like, "Good afternoon." Avni, do you have a question?
I have two actually.
Okay.
So thanks for being so patient with us. So how you mentioned on your e-commerce site, you don't have any sort of discounts or anything else.
Yes.
In the company that I work for, it's very similar to that. Is there any sort of like VIP, like sneak peeks that some of your clients may get first?
yes, so we're going to start all that because see, right now we were just basically first we were in testing phase, and then now now that everything is smooth sailing, we're going to start doing, like I said, like we want our repeat customers to get some kind of an advantage. So rather than calling it a discount like that, we're going to give them a percentage off as being a loyal customer. We're also going to start doing have a link where initially they get to pick first versus the rest of the people. So all these are things which are happening. They're not on the site yet, but in our press release, it's part of our press release that we're working on a loyalty program.
Because those little things make people feel so much better.
Yeah,
Like,
and-
I'm in the in crowd, I get to see things.
Another big value add that we give all our customers is that we give them great customer service. We give lifelong customer service. There is you can anytime I meet a client and I know that they have purchased from me, personally I'll be like, do you have how is it going? Do you like it? So they're they're not even meaning to complain, but I dropped curry on my outfit, something random like that, and I'll send it back to us. We'll change the fabric, we'll send it back to you. Only because I feel in the big picture, I want to have if I have happy, satisfied customers all over the world. I'm not saying I don't have any disgruntled customers, by the way. They have been. But the thing is, try to minimize that. Try as much as you can, have the right attitude and try to minimize. And I have changed my attitude. I probably didn't think like that a few years back. But I believe now that you have to satisfy them for the business to grow.
And for word of mouth marketing, which is
Exactly.
very powerful.
Yeah.
And that gives you that added
Yeah.
edge of the other designers that don't give that personal
Yeah,
attention.
yeah.
Avni, you had a second
Yeah,
question.
where do you find your inspiration? Do you sit in that mafia room that's over here on the line?
No.
Or is it just traveling? Or-
No, in fact, I find the whole inspiration thing, I always joke about it in India, so I'll tell you all. So I actually do the reverse. I design whatever I feel like, then I put it all together, and then I come up with an inspiration note for the PR people. Because I'm like, you know what, the first gown which you saw was from our 2010 resort collection. I decided to go against the grain, and I'm like, I have no inspiration, it's about beautiful clothes, and I wrote that in the press, nobody covered it, right? Because they didn't understand. They were like, there's no name, the collection doesn't have a name, there's no with no country you're inspired by, they couldn't understand it. But in Rome do as the Romans do, so we do that to satisfy them, because a lot of no offense, but a lot of the press back home is not very refined. They don't really understand fashion. They haven't studied fashion, but it is what it is. But I truly get inspired by stylish people like clothes I see people wearing, window shopping, being online. So I don't think I'm copying. I think that's just oh, I love this silhouette, and I'll think about how I would wear it in an Indian context. I love these colors, so we'll put it together. So I think I truly get inspired by clothes and the people who wear them. So
Rima, right? Rima, your question?
You are so impressive. Right now you're super into your super mom, super designer, everything. You're doing everything and it's pretty amazing. With that said, I wanted to ask, what is your 9 to 5 like on any given day? What does your 8-hour day look like?
Well, we decided it was 9 to 3, right?
Yeah. 9 to 3.
It's actually, it's like 24 hours because when I said that, so basically I get up around 7:30. I see my son off to school, I do a little bit of yoga, which doesn't show, but I just do yoga. And then I try to get to work. I try to leave home by 9, so I can get to work early. Like in India, reaching work at 10 o'clock is considered early by opinion, because here I know people get to work at 7:38 also. So, but in the morning, like I'm already like, my friends here make fun of me because they think, oh, big deal, you have to tell your staff what to cook for lunch and dinner, but it is a task, you know what I mean? So I, give all the instructions because I have to run my house too, and then I head to the office, and then I'm in the office from 9 to 2, from 10 to 2, and I do not even look at my phone. I don't take any personal calls, I talk so fast that my staff has to really keep up with me because I'm trying to do an 8-hour day in 5 hours. So I need to be really, so I'm very efficient in my head. So I make notes while I'm in the car, like these are the things I have to do in the office today. So like when I was looking into an account, some order, some stylist, some celebrity, whatever the task of the day.
Even when you're not working, you're working.
Yeah. And then on the way home, I make all my personal calls. So I mean, I have it all time. Then when I'm home, I want to be with my son for 2-3 hours so that, he doesn't feel like. But yes, if there's work calls that come at that point of time, I do take them because I can't cut away. I can have a few, blocked out hours, but I cannot because I'm not working a whole day. And then on alternate days, what I do is I try to take meetings locally near my where I live. So even if I have to meet anyone, like a stylist or a celebrity or another store, anyone business related, I try to do those meetings which are not meant to be in the office on my off days. And so that way I'm still working, but I'm more available.
Also, the creative mind is never stops.
It never stops.
It's working 24 hours.
The most creative writers I get is when I'm in the showers.
But you said that you love your work, so you don't necessarily feel like.
I don't feel that doesn't pressurize me. I'll be honest, I tell you, the only pressure I feel in my business is networking. My own. This is it's not a universal thing. People love it, I don't. I find it very taxing.
You're actually very shy.
Yeah.
Not that we would know that.
Yeah.
Nina, what's your question?
Hi, Payal. Actually, I had so many questions to ask, but until you said that one regret you could say is you go back to work and work for somebody. That mistake I had done 2 years back. I had a proper job, but I had to quit the job because I was really naive to handle the politics and everything, fashion, how tough it is to survive. And I come from a non-business background, non-fashion background, but I went to school in New York. I went to Parsons, I had a degree, associate's degree. I worked, but unfortunately I couldn't continue. I had to quit. And my dream is to have my own life, 2 years down the line. So I'm at a point where should I just go back to work or should I just start something on my own? I'm just doing all bits and pieces to get there. But it's not easy, as you know, here, staying in this country. I've been here for the last 11 years, but I don't think it's easy to establish your line because having a production unit, having a design unit in New York, it's not easy.
No, it's
So what is the question?
So what is your piece of suggestion, a person like me, would you suggest just go back to work and just get some experience since I can't move back to India at this point of time?
So what I would, if I was in your position, what I would do is that I would take up job in fashion. I would take up a proper full-time job in fashion. I would work harder, and I would, while I was at that job, try to get connections back home where you can have your manufacturing unit set up, create a sample line, start working on the lookbook. So basically you have 2 jobs. I mean, there are few years where you can do that, obviously these are the working years and then you want to chill. So this is the time, if you really want to do it, you're really passionate about it, there is nothing which can stop you. If you really want something, you're going to get it, So you have to go after, you have to, a lot of people who say, you're doing a class in marketing and branding. I also done one at FIT a couple years back. A lot of people who, there's a big difference in saying, I want it, but I'm not doing anything about it.
I've been chasing this for the last 8 years.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying that's what I'm saying. So go back, do a full-time job because that pays the bill.
Right.
Plus you get work experience. You get to meet people through your work.
Right.
You get to see how an office operates. What the manufacturing is. Try to get a job with a company which you most relate to. Maybe that's more relevant work experience. And simultaneously try to start establishing relationships with manufacturers. There are some manufacturing units even here. I think you can. Basically, what you first have to do is you have to first, okay, another thing I'll tell you is you have to have realistic and achievable goals. So for example, are you a good designer? Because that's what I was saying, product is king. So first of all, why don't you do a line and get it manufactured? Invest a little bit of your personal money while you have the job. If you have the job, you will then have that extra surplus to invest in the line. Test it out, show it to a few friends, do a small trunk show, see what the people's response is, what are the price points. Unless you don't get into the field and see, everyone thinks it's so easy. I mean, after working for so many years, we don't even see so much. Sometimes we don't even make money in a year. I'm just giving you an example because the expenses and the overheads of running a business, especially manufacturing, is so high. So I feel like do a small line, test it out, see what your aptitude is, how much potential it has, and then decide to, okay, I've made enough money, I've saved up, I'll quit my job and now I'll concentrate on the manufacturing.
I do that with jewelry actually. I make my own jewelry. Like I sell at home, I post my own trunk shows at my home, and my friends and family. They come.
So you can do the same thing with the clothes.
With clothing, it's not easy. As I said, it's not easy to go to a tailor unit in New York City and get things done. That's
So I think the counsel is that you start small, maybe start with 3 pieces.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a whole full-blown line.
Right.
No, and that's what I'm saying. That's why a lot of, for example, a lot of the American designers have manufacturing units in China, and a lot of the Indian designers, I don't know how they function here usually, but Mithun, right?
Mithun Ghosh is supposed to be here.
Yeah, so she right?
Well, I suspect the phone's been going on for at least a minute. They're standing outside still trying to push the button.
So she, I don't know where her manufacturing, she probably answered this better because my manufacturing is in Bombay, where I'm from, and I came reverse, right? I came to New York, I already had the business set up. It's not like I lived in New York and I tried to set up a business back home. So maybe someone who's local, like an Indian designer who's local, and I know a lot, by the way. A lot of Indian designers who live in New York and all over America who have
companies in India who manufacture for designers here.
Yeah,
there are also a lot of sample makers who are in New York here.
Yeah.
You just have to. You can go to WWD. It's a lot of sample makers.
Exactly.
You can do your line.
So if you're doing an Indian, depends on what you want to do. If you're doing an Indian embellished line, you'll have to work with a manufacturer.
Yes.
If you're doing a Western line, then you can work with the pattern makers, and there are even small units in New York which actually manufacture stuff.
But frankly, being a successful designer, if you can say that, wish you had that experience back then, you can work for somebody.
Absolutely.
Maybe I could just
Absolutely.
Nita.
Actually, I don't. You answered so many of the questions I may have had in my mind. It was very enlightening listening to you, how you manage your business. Thank you.
Well, but Nita, you have a very specific question, and I don't know if you can field this, but she has moved locations of her jewelry store in Hoboken in the last while, and she's having a tough time siphoning traffic to it. What would you advise her?
We had no budget, we had no money, everything is so expensive here, right? And we were just starting out. So what we did was, we did a lot of creative, out of, it's a necessity is the master of invention, only because of that. We had no money, so we were thinking of, so we did a lot of charity events, we did a lot of silent auctions, we did events like LadyDrinks events, just to get visibility and handing out business cards, taking part in trunk shows, basically what I'm trying to tell you is we started small and we built it and built it and built it like word of mouth. And till today I meet people, we closed the store almost 5-6 years back. I meet people and they know where the store was. The store was only open for 2 years. I was on a street, not on an avenue, in a residential neighborhood. So you make it into a destination shop. You make it about that, it's private appointment, it's only open on certain days. You make it more exclusive and then people remember that and then they come.
Thank you.
Susan.
I have 2 questions. One is going to be about your textiles, your fabrics. You do actually the designs and have them printed?
Yes. So we hire a graphic designer. This one is actually done by a New York-based graphic designer. She has a label called Design by Nasha. And so we worked in collaboration with her. I gave her my ideas, told her what my inspiration was. She came up with the design. Then we have a manufacturing unit in India where we first dye the fabric and then we digitally print it on 100% crepe fabric.
Now the other question is, when you get going with your VIP customer or clientele list, everybody's different. in terms of fit.
Right.
I mean, our faces are different in terms of shape, and, you know, our shoulders are different and all of that. So for someone who might love your stuff, but who wants to order online because they're not at a store where your materials are, how would you address that issue so that you would know what is going to work well with a particular client?
So basically what we started was, which was a little unconventional, but we felt it helped us, is that whenever anyone places an order and they don't want to pick a standard size, we ask them to get measured from a local dry clean or whatever and send up. And we also ask them for a photograph of themselves so that you can relate to the person. Like, you know, I have a physical thing, so we only if you're comfortable. So if I was placing an order online and if someone asked me for my picture, I don't mind, I will send my picture. Some people may not be comfortable, that's fine. We ask them for things like their height, their jean size, their dress size, and their bra size. So these are the things which are like an add-on. And we actually, every order comes through to me now. Again, I micromanage. These are not good things I'm teaching you all. You should learn to delegate. But initially, you know, it's like having a baby, right? Like for the first 5 to 10 years, you're going to look after your baby, and then you're going to let the baby go on their own. So right now, I'm doing it all myself. So what happens is, for example, I had a customer who gave me her measurements. We didn't have a picture, but she gave me her height and her bra size or whatever, and she written shoulder 22 or something, which is not possible. So instantly, it became like a red alert to us. So we emailed her back. We retaught her how to measure it verbally, like take the measure tape. So small things like that, like when we have someone's extra information, it helps us to know whether the measurements that they've given us are correct, because, you know, we understand proportion. And then we reply back to them saying that, okay, this is good, this is not good, whatever, and then we're good to go. And like I said, suppose someone gave me a photograph and she'd given me measurements which looked off, then I would immediately go back and say, like someone gave me pant length 23 inches and they're like 5'6". That doesn't make sense, it doesn't add up. So we would say your recommended length of your pants should be 41. So they were doing inseam. You know, now we don't know that. So then they were like, oh, okay, you're right, outseam is 41 inches. So stuff like that.
So as you know, Payal, we have some ladies who have live streamed in because they couldn't make it in here tonight. So this is the last question of the evening. It comes from Midali Doshi. She says, do you have any tips for someone trying to establish an online business through an e-commerce site but has no actual retail storefront?
I mean, a lot of people are doing that. You know, they have an online store and no retail store. That's absolutely fine. I mean, in terms of tips, same thing, create awareness by social media. You know, we have so many. I mean, I'm on Instagram, and there's so many people who I follow me, and you know, they're all online sites selling Indian clothes. Some of them are selling fakes, but they do not have any retail store, and it's all, you know, just online, and they just create awareness by having like a Twitter account, Instagram, Facebook page. It's enough.
But if you were to give her the same counsel they gave Neetha, was just to make it a destination,
yeah,
a community to hang out,
yeah,
what would you suggest that she do?
So there's so many things, like, you know, like first of all, someone, when you talk to a programmer, they'll tell you things like, basically you have to make it very word heavy, make your website word heavy, because the more words that you put on your website, the more searches that people do, that your website will pop up more times.
So we're talking about SEO, search engine optimization.
Exactly. So you have to have a lot of content on your website, written content, not just pictures, right? Then the other thing is to create interesting programs, or like have like for us, we're an established brand, right? So people come to us because they've heard the label, but if it's a new website or it's a new brand coming in, how do you generate excitement? Like even like, I remember when Free People launched, I don't remember what they did, but I remember there was some excitement. I can't remember the exact thing, but just like when you have a new brand, you have to create some kind of a buzz, some excitement, have a content. I remember when Exclusively.in launched, they actually had, before they even launched, they had just if you sign up, you would win a Manish Malhotra outfit. This is 4 years back. And because we were...
That must get expensive though.
I mean, either they bought it from Manish or they must have asked him to sponsor it. I don't know that, but it's like, if like they got 10,000 followers, I mean 10,000 sign-ups for that, it's totally worth it for them. So same thing, like if she wants to launch her online business, maybe she could just have like a homepage and be like, if you sign up, everybody's kind of competing for this one product, and one of the people who signs up is going to get this outfit.
That brings us to 8 o'clock. We are done. This is when the shopping and drinking and eating portion of the evening gets underway. I want to thank Payal, who's provided the food tonight, and Sufi Wines, who's provided the wine tonight. Please enjoy yourselves for the last hour. Present your card if you want to get your 10% off of Payal's wonderful new collection. Any final thoughts?
No, I mean, it was great. Thank you all for being here. I mean, I don't know if it was worth it, but I hope it was.
Of course it was worth it. Those sheets before you leave tonight and turn them into us if you want to do a 20-minute one-on-one with Payal. Have a great night.
Thank you.
It is freezing in here. Somebody turn that on.